Go to sleep. Squeeze them.
Dog parks or long walk?
Well, I prefer dog parks.
Homemade food or packaged food?
Homemade. And he barks on command, by the way. Yeah. Who's there? Who's come? Go see who's come.
Hello, dog lovers and pet parents. Welcome back to Woof. Last week, ट्रैवल विद वुफ के एपिसोड में हमने कुछ जबरदस्त बातें की थी वासुकी पुंज के साथ और आज हम उसी कॉन्वर्सेशन को आगे बढ़ाने वाले हैं। इस एपिसोड में हम जानेंगे वासुकी की पेट पेरेंटिंग जर्नी, उनके प्यार भरे मोमेंट्स, उनके चैलेंजेस एंड वो खास मेमोरीज जो उन्होंने अपने फरी फ्रेंड्स के साथ शेयर किए हैं। तो तैयार हो जाइए एक दिलचस्प सफर के लिए और चलिए Petcast by Woof के नए एपिसोड को स्टार्ट करते हैं। Can you tell us a bit about your dogs and introduce them?
This guy is of course the alpha. This is Romu. His name was Hero. And this is Zoe. Yogi came to us 2 months ago. This guy used to be my dog. And I think one of the reasons why he is so sort of the alpha of the pack, he's got the most attention from me because it was just one-on-one and I used to live alone. So he was stuck to my hip for 6 months. And then I got married. My husband, who used to be, he didn't not like dogs, but he never had dogs. So he didn't even know what he felt like when it came to dogs and stuff. Then when Muffin came, from when he would not leave my side to now, if my husband's in the room, he doesn't look at me.
How did that shift happen?
I think my husband's name is Mickey. Mickey just became his favorite person. He sleeps on his side of the bed under his quilt. If we're sitting in the room together and I leave the room, he won't even raise his head. If Mickey leaves the room, he'll follow him.
Early morning cuddles or like late night zoomies?
Late night zoomies.
What
He's just not my
would
dog.
you like to say to the people who are thinking of becoming a poodle parent or already are a poodle parent and they just, any tips, any just experiences that you'd like to share?
I do find this breed to be very possessive, very insecure, and I would say very territorial. Because they're a small, breed, especially, all these dogs that are kind of much smaller, I find that they're a lot more insecure. They're great with people, they're very bad with other dogs. He will not play with all 4 of them, like none of them.
So how does one tackle that? Is it through training?
It's okay, you don't have to force them, it's just not their personality type, so let them be. I mean, they're not necessarily violent or whatever, but it works fine in this household.
It's exactly like a nice segue into the next thing that I want to ask you, because the perception of people from being a pet owner has shifted a lot towards being a pet parent.
I always say pet parent.
There's no like a collar or a knee leash.
No, I don't put collars on them.
Like
only when they're going to vets.
Okay. Like
only when they're going to vets, but they don't go out on walks, they play here only. They don't really, they don't leave the house. This guy does quite a bit. And once in a while we take them, we have a farm. So we take them to the farm. I have 3 dogs at the farm. Those were adult dogs that we had rescued. So the only thing is, when you have a pack of dogs at home, it becomes very difficult to bring an adult dog into the mix.
He's already set in his own ways and behaviors.
Yeah. And the 3 dogs in the farm are all rescues and they're very well looked after. So once in a while, these guys go to the farm, but otherwise they don't really, leave. They don't wear
What
collars.
about the husky, especially in Delhi's weather, extreme weather conditions?
I know.
What
We'll
would
just
you
have to
say?
keep him indoors.
Yeah.
We don't have a choice. I don't even know why people breed huskies in this country or why people, I've adopted this guy because, the mother was an abandoned husky, but I personally would not, I wouldn't dream of it, like especially a husky and Saint Bernards. These 2 dogs are just so not suited for Indian weather.
Even chow chows.
Yeah, and it's just criminal to, keep them here. It's
So like for
just...
people, if somebody has had or is a pet parent to a husky, what would you say they should follow, or certain tips just to make the dog's life easier and the parent's life easier?
Yeah, so the thing with Huskies is, and since I've gotten yogi, I've sort of done a lot of reading, and so whenever I get a dog, I tend to read a lot about, either that particular breed, or for that matter, before I got Muffin, I read a lot about dog parenting. So even with Huskies, from what I've learned and what you saw also, they have a lot of energy, and the breed itself was bred to run, to transport people on sleds from, point A to point B. That was the entire reason for their breed. So not particularly high maintenance in terms of money or whatever, but high maintenance in terms of
Exercise, their routine.
Yes. And brushing. They need to be brushed twice a day. They shed a lot. They're going to shed for their entire lives. So if you don't have time to brush them twice a day, don't get a husky. Or you be okay with having husky hair all over your place, all over your
Either
house.
or.
It's either or. For example, poodles are friendly with human beings but not friendly with other dogs. Huskies, labs, golden retrievers, some of the most friendliest dogs.
Okay.
Yeah, and very good with kids. And a lot of people have, said Indies are like this and like that, but honestly,
I would like
think
you to just
Zoe is
give
just...
more details about people who are looking to adopt Indies and give them maybe a better home rather than going for a purebred dog.
In fact, when I got Zoe, I was telling you earlier, she had all kinds of issues. I think she was separated from her litter. I kind of just, brought her home, and my husband also joked. He's like, he went to the market and came back with a dog. I didn't even ask him, by the way. I just brought a dog home, and he's like, what's that? I said, don't ask me questions. She's going to live with us from now on. For 3 months, I moved into the guest room because I wanted her to sleep with me. And I moved into the guest room and sort of nursed her back to health because she was waking up maybe 5-6 times in the night. And it took 3 months.
I would never let my dog do.
I would never let my dogs charge at people. Like I would never let my dogs scare people. Came back to health.
In terms of food, in terms of routine, daily routine, how was it different from the dogs that you have, or was it similar?
Same.
So what do they eat? Like a day?
They eat
Describe like
home
a
cooked
day
food. They eat
their
rotis, they eat rice, chicken, all kinds of vegetables, whatever they're allowed to eat. Broccoli, kaddu, beans. They eat home cooked food. Except Yogi now is on puppy food. I think I'm going to wean him off in another month. In another month or so, he'll be about 5-6 months. I'll wean him off of puppy food.
How does a person who's watching this, has similar work schedule, can learn from this, like your experience, how to manage a dog with a hectic schedule?
I travel between Bombay and Delhi. My work sort of takes me to Bombay quite often. When I'm in Delhi, I spend at least in the morning and in the evening when I come back from work, I spend all my time with them. And it's not like we actively spend time with them. It's not like we spend quality time with them. They're just in every room that we're in because they have access to the whole house.
If your pets could talk, what would they say? Each one of them, anything. What would they say?
I think all of them would say I love you.
And what about like when you're traveling, does any one of them have separation anxiety, something?
Not at all. There's so many people in the house.
Yeah, I think again, asking
Not
you these
at
questions is a bit coming from because you have so much help.
Help.
Because
But then again, even with this guy, when I was raising him and I'd go to the gym, for example, I'd leave him for an hour and a half because he wasn't allowed in the gym. What I used to do sometimes, I used to take him, even if I didn't have to go out somewhere, I'd leave him at my friend's house for a couple of hours. I got him used to being independent. The first thing I would train them, like you know how sometimes people get so, they proudly say, oh, mere bina khana nahi khata hai. I'm like, but that's not a good thing. Why did you make him so dependent on you?
Exactly on this point, we had a conversation earlier with a pet behaviorist, and the one thing that she said was like she started the interview saying, don't say a very good or a very big goodbye to your dogs or a
Don't.
very
I never do.
grand
I
hello
never
to
do.
your dogs, because then they get used to the attention, then they get used to, and this most pet parents do.
Poodles generally have separation anxiety, but like I said, I really made an effort with this guy to make him independent. He's very independent. I can leave him anywhere, but that's how I raised him. I would just leave him at a friend's house for 2 hours, 3 hours. And I think that also teaches them one thing. They're like, no matter where they are, he's always used to me coming back. So there's that confidence. I made it a point for all of them to be fine without me. I don't want them so dependent on me. Because I know what my travel is like. I know what my work is like.
The favorite thing that you like to do with your pet, one thing.
Squeeze them.
If you had to give like one word for each of them, like any personality trait, each of them, what would that be?
Super Intel. Einstein. King Kong. Robin. Batman's Robin. Yogi is like that roadrunner.
Exactly.
Yeah, Yogi is a road.
And I would never do this without my dog.
Oh, I would never do this without my dog. I would never live in a house without dogs. I would not live without dogs. Yeah, I would not live without dogs.